Chapter 6? I thought it was chapter 5. Oh yeah, we just started chapter 6. Right, sounds like a movie. Pierce woke up in an asylum installed in the cellars of the Riverside Institute. He met Dr. Colden, a female friend of Bradley, helped him to. I still don't know what happened to Bradley. Helped him to escape. Wandering through the corridors of this place where, where Dr. Fuller reigned supreme, Pierce was able to talk to a man called Francis Saunders. Before dying in full view of the detective, he accused Sarah Hawkins of being the cause of his torments. Pierce finally left the accursed building, accompanied by Bradley and Colden. The companions in misfortune decided to use the Hawkins mansion as a hideout. What? Oh yeah, I remember seeing this before. Oh, it looks like a clown. What a wig.
Who goes there? That nightmare again. I need a drink.
Second. 2 points. Oh, wait. Let me tweet I'm streaming. And we'll continue. Good about that. Alright. Can continue. Yeah. My next one. Obviously I cannot. Yeah. Let's go for. Both are quite good. I don't know. Macabre discovery. Okay. Macabre Tel Aviv. Yeah, discovery. Searching through the cellars of the Riverside Institute, Pierce entered a room that he first took for a morgue. But the advanced state of decay of the corpses that lay about the place quickly made him realize that he was wrong. Nothing could justify the presence of such a charnel house in a hospital. You know what that means. The putrid smell and the total absence of respect for human life, as witnessed by this room, profoundly shocked Pierce, costing him some of his sanity. Well, if they are dead, doesn't matter. The death of Francis Saunders. The weirdness of Francis Saunders' death went far beyond anything Pierce had ever seen. Lifted off his feet by an invisible force, the poor man's body was carried into the air before thrown violently against the bars of his hiding place. Pierce, powerless, watched the limbs break and Saunders' body crumble to the ground. In long moments of agony, the detective saw nothing that could explain this event. Weakened by his wounds and the operations he could remember undergoing, Pierce begins to question his ability to tell the difference between reality and the nightmares that haunt him. How do we know that? Oh wait, we know him, yeah. Francis Saunders knew Sarah Hawkins so well that he accused her of being the source of his suffering. The man gouged his eyes out with his own hands and smeared the walls of his cell with esoteric symbols. He seemed to be obsessed with a sampler linked to Sarah Hawkins. He died before my eyes in circumstances that I cannot explain. It definitely reminds me of In the Mouth of Madness. cellars of the Riverside Institute. Strictly speaking, I didn't spend much time in the hospital. When I woke up, I was immediately transferred into the cellars of the Institute, a sort of clandestine asylum where Dr. Fuller carried out his experiments on patients without being troubled. And all machines sit beside an anatomical drawings that are disturbing to say the least. I just managed to escape from this place. I might not have as much luck another time. Medical record of Francis Sanders. According to his record, the patient seems to suffer from psychosis. He gouges his own eyes out in an attack of delirium. Sarah Hawkins was interned at Riverside for fits of insanity a while before her death. It was not her first attempt with the fire at the mansion. A document attesting to the fact that Irene Sanders, wife of Francis Sanders, had her husband interned after he had shown grave signs of madness. Okay.
I have a duty to the patients. That man is toying with their lives.
Who knows what he could do if what you say is true?
That is precisely why I'll find evidence.
Fine, do what you want. I'm just trying to reason with you.
So beautiful. Here's their mansion. How did he?
You're awake, Mr. Pierce. How do you feel?
Did I sleep long?
The day is only starting. It's fine.
I'd love to see what he's gonna say.
How's our fugitive? Dr. Fuller hasn't reported your disappearance to the force, but that'll come soon.
Bradley?
Who else would it be?
Mr. Pierce, are you all right? You look like you saw a ghost.
There are things I can't explain.
Tell us. What happened?
What? Ah.
I found a file bearing Sarah Hawkins' name in the Institute's basement.
It makes sense. A powerful family like the Hawkins had the means to hide such a disgrace.
But everyone knows the Fullers have been taking care of the Hawkins for at least a generation. And all were aware of Mrs. Hawkins' fragility.
Perhaps, but no one would allow a psychiatric internment.
From what I read in the file, Fuller used her as a subject of his experiments.
Francis Sanders and Sarah Hawkins, subjects of Dr. Fuller. Why those two?
Given the energy he pours into Riverside, I presume it was Fuller's creation.
His father's, to be correct. He was a surgeon on board the Scylla. He founded the hospital in 1904 with funds from the Hawkins family before he died and his son Thomas Fuller took over.
Two families inextricably linked.
Most island families are that way. Captain Fitzroy's father was also a seaman aboard the Scylla.
Powerful families dominating everything.
Yes, and as you could tell, Dr. Fuller is like some crazed emperor.
He wouldn't be happy if he knew we were snooping around.
I know the risks. I don't fear him. Do you wish to know anything else?
You two know each other pretty well.
It's a tiny island. Everyone knows everyone. Especially since I'm a police officer and Marie's a doctor.
The chemistry is obvious.
I do seem a little bit stupid, don't I? Anyway, let's get back to the business at hand.
Oh, this is annoying.
What I'm sure of now is that the Hawkins case isn't just an accident.
And what brings you to that conclusion?
The fact that Charles Hawkins survived the fire.
I don't understand. Mr. Hawkins was buried.
That's what he would have you believe.
I have a hard time believing you.
You were there, Bradley. You even opened fire on him.
I'd remember that.
Why would he fake his own death? Do you think he covered up his wife's murder?
That's possible.
It seems hard to swallow. Don't you have anything more concrete, Pierce?
Bradley, what do you remember?
I don't understand your question.
The night we went into the Hawkins mansion. You don't seem to remember the tunnels and what occurred there.
No memory of going down any tunnel. No, we were in the manor, then,
Then what?
The rest is quite blurry. I don't recall how I came back home.
And then?
I went to visit you at the hospital and called on Marie's help to get you released.
And you don't remember the events of the tunnel?
I don't. Let's talk about something else.
It's like he was let go. My character was let go for some reason.
Dr. Fuller seems to be leaving a trail of corpses. Not to mention those strange machines, and chains, and tools of all kind.
Yes. I've been telling you that Fuller uses his patients as guinea pigs.
What I saw was more akin to torture than medicine.
Do you even hear what you're saying? Dr. Fuller is highly respected.
It's the truth, Ethan. And I'll prove it to you. I'm listening, Mr. Pierce.
I have flashbacks. They haunt me.
What did they do to you?
There was that Dr. Fuller and a nurse. Blood everywhere. My legs, the pain, I couldn't bear it. I was screaming. They injected me with something. I woke up at the Institute. Bradley was there.
And how you scared us. You seemed demented.
You likely woke up during the anesthesia. No wonder those memories haunt you. What in God's name were they doing to you?
What happened afterwards?
When I woke up the second time, I was in a padded cell. That's where you found me, Doctor. After you released me, I got a good look at what's in store for the patients of the Riverside Institute. Hallucinogenic gas pumped into the cells. An infernal machine. Horrific medical experiments.
Impossible. Dr. Fuller would never do such a thing.
You should believe it, Ethan. What Mr. Pierce saw is precisely what I've been trying to prove. Did you discover anything else?
I met a Francis Sanders. Do you know him?
Of course. He's a patient. Or was. I haven't seen him since Dr. Fuller had him transferred to the basement.
He knew Sarah Hawkins, and that's what killed him.
What? How did he die?
I'm not sure I can explain it.
Tell me how Mr. Sanders died.
I wonder, I don't know if you have seen the movie End of Days with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't want to spoil anything. Yeah, okay, I won't say anything. But I wonder if something that happened in that movie, in one of the characters, is what happened with Officer Bradley there.
I didn't see what, but something was there with us.
Of what do you speak?
Sanders said it was Sarah Hawkins' visitor. He spoke of it like a living being.
Sarah Hawkins? Have I missed something here? This makes no sense. I don't see how it can help crack the Hawkins case.
You really think she's involved? How could she have murdered Mr. Sanders?
Francis Sanders mentioned Mrs. Hawkins just before dying. It's no coincidence.
You know, Francis Sanders was a well-known art collector. I guess you can still pay a visit to his wife, Irene Sanders.
An art collector, you say? That's probably how they met.
If you plan on having dinner at the Sanders household, please spare the widow the tale of her late husband's suffering.
I don't agree. She deserves the truth.
But that truth may be biased. We don't know the bottom of it.
They're both right. Especially since I don't know if my character is saw what he saw. It's true or not.
You're right. Without a plausible explanation for what I saw, let's not jump to conclusions.
That seems wise indeed.
Very well. I'll go to see Francis's widow. Perhaps I'll find a link between her husband's death and Sarah Hawkins.
Don't end up in the hospital this time.
I'll do my best.
Dr. Fuller, the two. He took over 905, and now it is 1928, I think. Anyway, Dr. Fuller reigns as the undisputed master of the Riverside Institute and of its cellars, in which he carries out illegal experiments on his patients. I don't know what he has done to me, but I seem to be back on my feet so soon after my fall when the tunnels under the Hawkins mansion caved in. This man is dangerous, and I would swear that he knows more about all this business than he is willing to tell. Possibly, yeah.
The other night's events are still confused in my head.
Yeah.
Let us go now and learn the truth about what's happening on this island.
No. Should stay away from any alcohol. Beautiful. Why is everything so clean? I mean, yeah, the curtains are in terrible condition, but quite clean. No dust. Alright, let's get out of here. Pierce, Calder, and Bradley decide to team up to solve the Sarah Hawkins case. They have a new trail to follow, Francis Sanders, an art collector and friend of the painter, who died right in front of Pierce. The detective goes to his house in order to speak to his widow about the shambler that the unfortunate man mentioned before he died. Okay.
What can I do for you, sir?
Mrs. Sanders, I'm a private detective. We must talk about your husband and his ties to Sarah Hawkins. Can I come in?
You may. However, before we go any further, please know that my husband died yesterday.
That is precisely what brings me here.
Well, well, look who's here. You know each other.
Our paths crossed, briefly. The brave detective has a talent for sticking his nose into my business.
I bump into her every time I'm investigating someone's death.
It's a small island, Detective. My island. It's better that it's you bumping into me.
You're investigating Francis' death. Why? Who hired you?
I spoke to Francis before he died. His story suggests a link to a case I'm working on.
Well, since this business has got nothing to do with me, I'll be in your husband's office, Irene. We'll carry on later.
Very well, Miss Baker. This way, Mr. Pierce. And do make yourself comfortable. It would seem that you have much to tell me.
I don't feel comfortable of her leaving us.
May I inquire as to when you had the opportunity to talk to my husband?
Yesterday, I met him at the hospital. He spoke to me about Sarah Hawkins.
Oh, of course he spoke to you about her. That's all he talked about. Sarah Hawkins and her paintings. Please forgive my tone. The fact is that I have not been allowed to see him since he was interned. You, on the other hand, a perfect stranger, were able to see him and even talk with him the day he died. How was he?
You know the feeling.
Were you present when he had this attack? What happened?
I don't know what to say to her now. Because, as I said before, if I tell her the truth, do I know the truth? I mean, I'm not even sure I know the facts, which are far more important.
What happened to your husband is terrible, Mrs. Sanders. But from what I saw, it was inevitable. The man I met yesterday had lost his reason. He suffers no longer, if you would allow me such a platitude.
Of course. Thank you for your kind words. Nobody in that hospital would have deigned to speak them to me. However, it will require more than that to soothe my mind. I need to understand. How could this happen? In a reputed institute? And right before your eyes? Did you not do anything to help him?
Mrs. Sanders, I understand your grief, and I extend my deepest condolences to you. But I had nothing to do with the death of your husband. I've just arrived on Darkwater. I'm investigating the death of the Hawkins family.
The death of the Hawkins family? You mean it was not an accident? This accursed island knows only tragedy after tragedy. You too would be advised to flee it like the plague. Oh, I'm tired, Mr. Pierce. I would be grateful if you could tell me what you expect of me, and then leave.
Did your husband talk to you about Sarah Hawkins' visitor? A shambler, to use his precise terms.
Well, you can imagine that's all he talked about. It's exhibited at the center of the gallery. No better place for the painting that endowed him with the privilege of such a shameful and miserable end to his life.
Hold on. The Shambler is a painting by Sarah Hawkins.
Who else to paint such horrors? Take a look for yourself, if you feel so inclined.
It is my only lead at this stage. I suppose I have nothing to lose.
Then you have paid no heed. For my part, I refuse to set foot in that gallery again. But if you're so eager to see it, I would urge you to make the most of your visit, because I count on ridding myself of that thing as soon as I can.
Thank you, Mrs. Sanders. I won't be long.
Irene Sanders. It's clear that she holds Sarah Hawkins responsible for the death of her husband. But what I don't understand about Irene Sanders is this mix of sadness and insensitivity. It looks like she had given up on her husband long before his horrid death in the cellars of the Riverside Institute. Actually, that's the only thing that doesn't confuse me. Because I'm like that so far, when I lose someone.
The day the Shambler came into the Sanders' lives.
Okay. Oh. Didn't expect this.
A house of artists. A house of artists. Frances Sanders and Sarah Hawkins were close. Friends, even? A house of artists. Sanders' accession register. He wrote beside the Shambler, "Finally." What did Sarah Hawkins fear so much that she didn't want to sell the painting? He finally won. Was Sanders aware of his imminent doom?
Not sure what I'm looking at.
She didn't want Sanders to have the painting. She must have felt devastated. She despises Sarah Hawkins, but it's the painting she truly hates. Why? The Shambler. I need to see it.
The second volume in this series covers everything from gas gangrene to trench nephritis. In addition to a precise and detailed study, the book presents some avant-garde theories. The incredible complexity of this book reserves it for medical experts. How can you progress in medicine? I thought... Wow, for some reason I thought we finished with medicine, but obviously we haven't. Absolutely gorgeous. It sure shows that move.
Let's see what this cylinder has to say once it's inserted in a phonograph.
In audio recording that Francis Sanders left for his wife. Yeah, let's take this personal item.
Did she really care for him after all?
Dear Madam, I acknowledge receipt of the letter in which you demand the body of your deceased husband. I'm sorry to inform you that I cannot agree to return his body to you. At the moment of his interment, you signed a discharge allowing me to dispose of his body as I see fit. I extend my deepest condolences to you, Thomas Fuller. I'm not sure how he can do this. Second. Lost focus of the game. Alright, let's try this.
Irene, I made a mistake. I fear that it might be too late for me. Nobody should enter, except to burn everything. I never had the courage. Pay somebody to do it. He's inside my head. I see him behind my eyelids each time I shut my eyes. I can't take any more. I can't hold him back. Forgive me.
That accursed gallery. Those accursed paintings. That accursed Sarah.
Yeah, well, why don't we burn everything and just leave it? This home is creepy as F. Okay. Dissertation and an anatomical question is the work of a student in book form. Although the observations are relevant, they lack the expertise of an experienced physician. However, the questions asked allow us to imagine new ways of exploring human anatomy.
A strange Amerindian pendant.
Looks like a portable dream catcher.
I could use one of those.
Found the sleeping pills in the Sanders house. Were they prescribed to Francis Sanders or Irene? I'm not sure why I took them.
Strange. For months, Sarah Hawkins refused to part with her painting, to finally give it away for nothing.
Excuse me. Dear Francis, I beg you to give up all hope for ever owning this accursed painting. Or accursed, I don't know. If our friendship has any meaning for you, please spare me the weight of guilt. I cannot be the architect of your fall. I beg you, my dear friend, forget the Shambler. Your friend, Sarah Hawkins.
Another volume of the Reverend's wife's diary.
Why don't I remember this? This volume spent some time on, because he said another volume, but I don't remember reading a previous volume. This volume spent some time on Reverend Wickwood's community. His wife expresses her worries about the strange dreams that the Reverend's congregation are having since their arrival on the island. Some members of the community, her husband included, began to speak of the vision as a messenger sent by God. She is scared that they will suffer the same fate as the lost tribe. Key to the Sanders Gallery. It is a kind of encyclopedia of monstrous and unknown creatures. I begin to believe that they exist. Why? That's good. Dimensional Sampler. Dimensional Sampler comes from a dark and inhospitable dimension, where the rarity of food sources keeps it in a state of permanent starvation. This is why it is in constant state of readiness to travel to other dimensions in order to feed on its inhabitants. Make sure you never weaken the veils of your dimension, otherwise you risk attracting this very dangerous creature. Should this happen, you just have to lay eyes upon it for its being to... What? Should this happen, you just have to lay eyes upon it for its being to anchor itself in your dimension and to allow it to rip you open with it. What? Okay. It read like an advice, but obviously what it says is not an advice. Well, kind of is, I guess, as in what not to do. But don't look at it. Okay. Men will gather the knowledge through the lines dictated to me by the great old ones, but also in other volumes. The visions that assail me whisper me names and silhouettes of mystical creatures. Soon the Melius Monstrorum, repository of all anatomical, cosmic and dimensional knowledge, will be seen as the authoritative work. Wow, cannot read. This book, unholy among the most cursed books, will one day be the final rampart between man and the predators that are waiting to devour him, hidden behind the veils of parallel dimensions. Cross-checking the information given by Francis Sanders and his widow, it is possible to reconstruct the events that led to the interment of Sanders. Everything points to Sanders and Sarah Hawkins being close, linked at least by the interest the collector sowed in the artist's work, but more probably by a certain friendship, attested to by the repeated refusals of Sarah Hawkins to sell the painting called The Sampler. Against all expectations, she finally gave it away for free. The feelings still sown by Irene Sanders towards the Sarah Hawkins are evidently derived from what she considers to be the artist's responsibility. Madness struck Sanders a short while after he gained possession of the painting. Oh, so got it back. Key to the Sanders' own gallery. Francis Sanders must possess quite a collection of art for him to have his own gallery.
That's twice you've stepped on my toes, Detective. Try not to make a habit of it.
I've got a lot of bad habits.
Some can be more fatal than others.
Oh,
What have you come looking for in this gallery?
I have a well-off client in Boston who heard about the death of Francis Sanders and wanted me to size up his estate before making an offer to his widow.
Nice story. Bad lie. Learn how to dupe, Detective. But as long as you keep out of my way, you're free to carry on with your visit.
And you? What brings you to the Sanders home?
I'm here on business. Irene asked me to liquidate all these paintings. She doesn't intend to hang around here for long.
Why you?
Believe it or not, there aren't many collectors on Darkwater. It needs someone with a network and a means of transport to the mainland. A choice that comes down to Fitzroy and me. And I'm far more pleasant, wouldn't you say? Not now, sweetheart. I'd like to read this without some snoop looking over my shoulder.
alright. I'm sure I'll regret this.
These artifacts date from pre-Columbian times.
Okay, no idea what this is, but looks like some kind of a sphinx.
These artifacts date from pre-Columbian times.
Okay. I've seen this before in that cave. Oh, this I don't like.
The public entrance to the gallery.
Yeah, I'm not sure I want to look at the painting now that I know there is a cupboard there.
The man transformed an entire wing of his manor into an art gallery.
Nice. And bad. Like in FPS games where they give you find lots of ammo and health packs, and yeah, you know what's coming. have a bad feeling about this. Okay, so we have one there. Where's the other one? Is it just sick? I'm very creeped out.
Why was he so interested in old weapons?
This is why I believe that lack of music is better for certain types of games. Better. That is of course subjective, but the frick. Not good. As you can see, I'm avoiding going near the painting. What is the other source of oil? There are two. One is there. Alright, let's do this. Cannot really avoid it. Oh, I think this is the other one. Yeah. Yeah. Not happy about this. Yeah. Interesting.
What the hell was that?
Need one more point. Oh, wait. What? Pierce read an ancient treatise, the Malleus Bestiarium. This bestiary makes an inventory of numerous creatures from the cult world or parallel dimensions. The very nature of its knowledge makes it an unholy book. By reading it, Pierce lost some of its sanity. That's not good. Okay, it's not friendly.
What the hell was that?
Have to go that way or not? I assume if I don't move, it's fine.
Damn. Maybe I can use this dagger.
Okay, I can obviously not attack it head on.
What the hell was that?
I don't like this.
Damn. Maybe I can use this dagger.
Wait a minute. I don't have a... Yeah, I will quick save here if I could. I assume I have to backstab it. Let's see if I missed something here. I have an idea.
What the hell was that?
Perhaps I need to destroy the painting.
Down. Maybe I can use this guy. Oh, God. Ah! What the hell was that?
Alright, let's try.
Damn. Maybe I can use this dagger.
He sees me, or it sees me, whenever I'm in direct view of it, even if it's looking elsewhere. So how can I possibly backstab it? Still there. Over there now. But I'm gonna go for the Okay, this might be it. This might be it. Of course I have to find a way.
What the hell was that? What the hell was that?
There was another panel somewhere with another weapon.
Damn. Maybe I can use this dagger.
You see me? Frick!
Damn it!
Okay, I need a break. I could do it next time. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.